You can send your emails to radiotakedown@gmail.com. That's radiotakedown@gmail.com. And thank you for downloading and listening. The best way to support this podcast, either go to blogtalkradio.com and hit the follow button, or just go to iTunes and subscribe to Dobashi's Radio Takedown. You will not miss a single episode, and you can catch up and listen to past episodes. And you know what? Best of all, it's free. And if you don't remember what I just said, just go to our website at radiotakedown.com.
Floyd Money Mayweather.
It takes true skills to be in the sport of boxing. And mixed martial art is for beer drinkers. Boxing is for everybody. You can't take my shoes off and take my shirt off and just throw me in a cage. You do that with animals. You can't do that with you don't do that with humans. I don't know no fighter in MMA that has generated a total revenue in 2 fights, which only lasted 1 hour, 2 fights, generated a total revenue of $250 million. They're not even on my level at all. Not even on my level. And I'm not talking. You must be running 8 and 9 miles for boxing. You must be able to box not 5 rounds, 12. And it used to be 15 rounds. So it was 3 fights. Now they got rounds. Now they got judges. Now they got cut mans. So once again, MMA stole boxing whole blueprint and try to run with it. Once again, like I said before, in boxing, we know who's dominating. Black fighters and Hispanic fighters is dominating in this sport. And this is not a racial statement, but there's no white fighters in boxing that's dominating. So they had to go to something else and start something new.
Live from my studios in Tacoma, Washington, I'm not only a proud member of the World Powers and a 3-time UIWA North American Heavyweight Champion, also in the Pro Wrestling Illustrated Magazine's Top 500, I'm the Beast from the Middle East, the Yemeni Maniac, the modern-day Sheikh, Diafullah The Butcher, Dobashi, and your host of
Dobashi's Talk Show. No, Dobashi's Radio Takedown.
I love beating my opponents for my own and your entertainment, but now I'm entertaining you right here with special guests and talks on all combative sports and entertainment. After all, you do watch sports to get entertained, don't you? This is a soapbox for the people to speak on anything. If you need to settle a problem, you can do it right here, censored free. Let's ring the bell to start the show.
Saturday, May 16, 2015, episode 40, Dobashi's Radio Takedown, and I'm your host, Diafullah Dobashi. We have a great show. We have Dan the Beast Severn. He called me early morning the other day, about 4 or 5 a.m., and I sound pretty groggy. He just wanted to chat and talk about what he was up to. And also, I talked to international superstar and WWE Hall of Famer Abdullah The Butcher. He is very, very sorry for asking for money on the last episode for his situation. He apologized. He was blindsided with some stuff and he kind of panicked. That's not like Abdullah, and he may be sadistic, but he has a big heart. You will hear it a little later on this podcast. Also, the stars answer your emails on Emailing with the Stars. New segment we have. I'm 1 episode behind on Lucha Underground. I really do enjoy that program. Something new and something fresh. And please, anyone out there, anyone in the world or in Hollywood, pass the word. I need to get a hold of Adam Sandler or his agent. I have a great movie idea. So, can you give me his contact or get a hold of radiotakedown@gmail.com. I'm working on some merchandise and some kind of fan listeners club. I will keep you posted. You can earn or win some merchandise. I think that'll be something new and something fun. Also, check out this charity on Facebook with Abdullah the Butcher and Queen Malika called Flowers While They Live, and you could check it out on Facebook.
I am here today with a good friend of mine, a self-proclaimed the evil one, Dan the Beast Severn. How you doing, my friend?
Evil one. How's a have a smile on the face, but then what was that old song? Smiling faces don't leave traces of the evil that lurks within.
That's awesome. The only reason I said evil one because when you left me the message yesterday, you said the evil one. I said, man, this guy ain't evil. He's a pussycat unless you get in the ring with him.
That's why I go off my Prozac.
So, how you doing? What's going on? What's new with you?
I'll tell you what, I don't know where to start. I got all kinds of things shaking and rolling. I've been back here in Coldwater, Michigan since the end of March. Prepping my training facility. It did reopen as of April the 1st of this year. And I brought on the new facilities director, and he's way better. That's an understatement. You know, his social media, things of the nature that he's capable of doing that I was not capable of doing. So it's taken this training facility onto a whole different level. So that's love. I've always been teaching the sport of amateur wrestling, but we can also teach professional wrestling. We teach mixed martial arts, submission grappling, and then adult classes, kid classes, and various other things. But for those of your listeners that are interested, you can go on Facebook at Michigan Sports Camps. If they want to know actually about a lot here, they can just be going again on the internet underneath DanSevern.com. Because Americans as a whole, I'm going to get on the political box here for a second. Americans as a whole are a very forgetful society. Yesterday's news was just that. It happened yesterday, and how soon we forget. But I've been around a long time, and I've been around for a long time yet to come.
Right, that's very true. The society nowadays has become a fast food society. They want everything really fast, but the attention span is so short. Is it due to all the social media and all the gadgets we got out there now?
I'd say it is a combination of all of the above. Now that we have everything at our fingertips, that's where there's more and more people that have ADD, although do I really believe in that? No. But, we just have too many people that want to be so huggy, kissy, warm, and fuzzy, and no one wants to really just, call things for what they really are. So, but that's why you have people like me in this world that simply just point at you and go, no, you just haven't either had your butt kicked in a while, or you haven't gone out there and actually worked up a good sweat, actually doing some manual labor.
Are you doing any active competition right now yourself?
Well, I have kind of launched my own little one-man campaign here, going after the National Wrestling Alliance. I want one last opportunity for a run at the NWA Heavyweight title belt.
Wow.
Which I don't know if it will be unheard of at my age to do that, but I will simply say that I do not look my age, nor do I act my age. If you would see me on the mats or working with technique, you would have thought I was probably some 25, 30-year-old young buck out there, but those years are decades behind me now.
Wow. So you're saying you want one last run at the NWA World Heavyweight Champion?
Yeah, and actually, I don't even want to say it like that because I did cut what I thought was a pretty good promo, and it's posted up on my Facebook, where, as a gentleman who was doing the interview of me, he was, he brought back some old emotions of how I, due to my crazy schedule, I was able to kind of stifle the way. But as the interview progressed on, actually, the more, I guess, enraged and angry I became because I was used by the NWA at one point to go to Japan and bring the strap back from Hashimoto. Because Hashimoto was the current heavyweight champion, and he did not feel like there was any young contenders that were worthy of carrying the strap. And just so after that, I and a few other Americans were headed over there, part of a professional show. I was going to be involved in a tag team match in the course of trying over Japan. I don't know what powers to be got together on the phone, but it was decided in the course of a flight that Hashimoto would be more than happy to relinquish the strap to me, someone of legitimate qualifications.
Like yourself.
You know, a step of, just kind of a step back in time. Well, then to be back here, that thing, bring the strap back in the United States, I really didn't have that long of a run before TNA, more or less, got the rights to the NWA belt. And
right.
That's at the time when they were doing these Wednesday night pay-per-views.
Yeah, the weekly ones, yep.
Right. And so all of a sudden, they had the first, pay-per-view coming up, and their ticket sales were horrible. So all of a sudden, they're like, well, let's make a heavyweight title defense without ever even speaking to me in the first place. Because I used to always keep my schedule right up on my website at that time, and I was already booked. And when they told me that, because due to ticket swap sales, stuff like this, they're looking to do this title, heavyweight title defense. I go, well, that's great. I go, but I'm not available. And they're like, well, what we have to do is we just announce. I go, you announce something without ever asking me what my schedule was. My schedule was up on my website. I go, I have a commitment. I will fulfill my commitment. That's the one thing about Dan Severn. It's not that I had a contract. I could have easily gotten out of it in terms of, breaking my word. But what does that say about me then?
Right.
That's the part that our society today, their word is worth what? Most people's word is worth nothing. Now they can't even look you in the eye there, D, and shake your hand because, of all the social medias that have soiled them in ways that they just don't know how to conduct proper conversation. They don't even know how to speak right to individuals. Hell, at my training facility, I'm correcting their speech all the time. You'd think I was an English teacher here. The way that, I see them when they go, me and Eddie, no, it's supposed to be Eddie and I, or we ain't got no. I'm like, no, you don't talk like some old hillbilly here right now. That's not, we're not teaching hillbilly classes here right now. So it's just, I sort of have to say, I don't know if I'm actually conducting a training facility or if I'm actually grooming young men in order to be accountable young adults. And that's where I'm jumping off a couple different tangents, but I'm the first cage fighter ever to be featured on the cover of Taekwondo Times. And the reason I was put on there was because I teach true martial arts values, character traits of honor and respect. You don't see that out of most of these guys nowadays. Right. Again, that's a broad stroke. There are a couple rare individuals, but as a broad stroke, no. So getting back to NWA, they're putting the pressure on. I go, I can't do it. They're like, well, we're going to strip you of the belt. I go, fine. Strip you of the belt then. And so, when you say you want another run at the belt, I go, no. Actually, no. I don't want another run at the belt. Realistically, I never lost the strap. I just want to continue to defend the belt. So that's what people understand. There's a whole difference right there. I was stripped of it, just taken away. I didn't lose it to somebody because the Jarretts and their 04 Wars Me were not selling enough tickets. Let's do this. That's how it all went down. Maybe they should drop the strap to me and then let Jeff Jarrett come and try to take it. and I will show him the good old-fashioned pretzel hold.
Right. Wow.
I'm not politically correct. I don't have no future in politics. And these backdoors negotiations here, backroom negotiations, I'd rather just reach. I'm not going to reach underneath that table. I'll reach over that table, grab you by the throat, and I will get your attention.
Well, have you been following the NWA wrestling, which was owned by Bruce Thorpe recently?
No, I watch very little television, period. There is a reason why it's called the idiot box. And it's even been proven scientifically that the more programming you watch, I guess it depends on the programs, but there was a study by Stanford University alone aimed at professional wrestling. And it was actually proven that the more professional wrestling that you actually watch, the lowering of your overall IQ. And there's some people out there that started watching professional wrestling that they can't afford to lose any more IQ points other than throwing a flat line on the receptor altogether. It's I don't watch the product because how does it impact me? It doesn't impact me. It's not a factor of my life. I just know that there's a certain situation they have going on right now, and I could be their little saving grace once again.
Right. Well, Bruce Tharp out there, Bruce Tharp of the NWA, Dan Severn, sounds like he wants to face the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Hopefully we'll see it in the mix in the near future. I would love to see you win the strap again or take the strap, the one you never lost.
Exactly. I think it's very promotional. It's very marketable, and that's the sheer fact that the strap is currently on a Japanese wrestler.
Yep.
An aging Japanese wrestler. It would do very good business in Japan.
Well, I just started this segment. It's not called Dancing with the Stars, Email with the Stars, where I have, listeners email me and, ask past guests questions. Would you mind answer this email question I got?
Well, I will attempt to. I'll put it like that.
Okay. This is from Dan Bacharach from Las Vegas, Nevada. He says, I recently was surfing YouTube. I came across a video from CBSSports.com where Floyd Mayweather said, it takes skill to be a boxer. It takes skill to be in the sport of professional boxing. And then it says, Floyd Mayweather also said MMA stole boxing's blueprint. MMA is for beer drinkers. Also, he pretty much said that blacks and Mexicans dominate boxing, so the whites invented MMA for some place for them to go. What are your thoughts, Mr. Dan Severn?
You're saying that was a quote?
Yeah. Matter of fact, I went to YouTube and I checked it out. And basically, he says MMA fighters are not on his level. He has to run 5-6 miles a day. They generate more money, and he pretty much said that the blacks and Mexicans dominated the sport, so the whites had to come up with something else so they could, be good and.
Well, wow. If that was a direct quote from Floyd Mayweather, I would simply say that Floyd Mayweather is not a very intelligent individual to make a comment like that whatsoever. He would do a little bit more research to realize that the number one company in the world for mixed martial arts, Ultimate Fighting Championships, to see what that company is worth. Now, because boxing has been broken up, it's been fragmented, and you have all these different organizations with their own heavyweights, champion, or not heavyweights, with their own champions in the various weight classes. It's hard to know who is the current champ at whatever weight, unless you make a great deal of noise like he does. But for him to make a comment like that about, blacks and Mexicans dominating one area, and so white people had to do something else, a very ignorant statement to make whatsoever.
Yeah, I agree.
No matter what sport you go into, it is the more intelligent athlete, irregardless of skin tone, that should prevail. And he should probably know that oh so well from his last fight. He knows how to weather fights where someone else can throw a lot of punches that don't score any points, and know that he can flick out one or two things that did score points, and he can win a fight.
Yeah. So what did you think about that fight? I'm sure you watched it.
I didn't watch it. I did not watch it. Again, before, it's what I read about it, about how it went. Not just from one piece of material. I read from several different things because I do consume a great deal of reading material on a daily basis, and the internet is a phenomenal aspect. Do I ever put all my eggs in one basket? No. I read it from several different sources, knowing that anybody, like any network on television, can talk about the exact same subject, but they can slam it from any viewpoint they want to. It all just depends on what is their agenda. So that's why I don't really listen or watch much television. I do like watching certain documentaries. I like watching certain networks. But as a whole, when you look at whatever the average American's consumption of television, I probably consume 1/10 or less of what they consume because I don't watch it. I don't.
Well, that's why you're the beast. That's why you're the beast, and that's why you're the most decorated grappler fighter out there today.
Well, and a few more credits to that, Laurel. As a, I'll give. I'm jumping on to here. Floyd Mayweather. I don't even want to talk about him.
That's fine.
I made my comment about him. Go read a book, which I'm sure he probably has, because he knows how to stir the pot.
And he knows how to make money.
Yeah, exactly right. So to me, you can simply say all you want. As he lives in his nice big mansion in his little gated community, he's not even living amongst his people. What does that say about him?
Yeah.
What does that say about him when he doesn't even live amongst his people then?
And I watched the fight. I was at my brother's.
I'm putting you on the spot. If the man won't even live amongst his people, what does that say?
I would probably say he's a sellout. If I was,
you're exactly right.
And
when he's forgotten really from where he came from.
Yeah.
He's good about making his little innuendos. I guarantee you, at his weight, we could probably find 10 or more current mixed martial artists that would like to take a run at him, and it wouldn't be a boxing match. It would be an MMA match, and he wouldn't stand a chance. He probably wouldn't even get out of the first round.
Oh yeah, I agree. It's funny because he's such a true heel. It was pretty funny because I was at my sister's house and we were watching the fight, and it was funny because everyone was booing their hometown person. And I just thought that was interesting. And, another thing, too, a lot of people were ticked off also. He tried to compare himself to Muhammad Ali, said he was the greatest. I started laughing.
Yeah, well.
But, what he does. He's making money. He got $200 million richer this last fight. Pacquiao got like $140 million, so they're both doing pretty good.
Yeah, well, exactly. I just can't wait till the day that mixed martial art athletes can come anywhere close to that kind of money.
Exactly. Well, that's enough about Floyd Mayweather. So, Steve Baccarat, I hope you're happy that Dan Severn asks your email questions. So let's get back to Dan Severn. Mr. Dan Severn, so let's look into the future. I know that you said you want to go for the NWA World Heavyweight Champion.
That's one short-term type of a goal.
Yep, and then how about some other goals? What about some other goals?
Well, just speaking right now, I'm back here in Coldwater, Michigan. I want to be, I still live my life in thirds. A third of the time I'm here in the state of Michigan, a third of the time I'm in the state of Arizona, and the other third I'm just out on the road doing all the stuff that I'm doing. I am going to be relaunching my mixed martial arts company known as Danger Zone. I started back in the no-holds barred era, so it only had the two rules to abide by. There's no biting, no eye gouging, so I said to let people know when you step up in this cage, it is the danger zone. I mean, who knows what's going to happen to you? That was an era of headbutts, growing shots,
right,
hair, fish hooks. I mean, you name it. It was
and no round.
The only two things it was bite a person or stick a finger in their eye. So that's where I came up with my name, and I'm going after the amateur market. The pro market is all set across the United States, across the world. The unified rules are what are followed. But across the United States and the world, the rules of amateur MMA differ a great deal. Just talking about the state of Michigan right now, the State Athletic Commission does not regulate amateur level mixed martial arts competition at all. And out of the 20-some odd amateur level MMA promotions I know of, you could probably flush 99% of them right down the toilet. They could care less about the athletes. They're not doing anything at all for them. They're not looking out for any aspects of safety. There's no medical. It's crazy. And yet these athletes are there. So I started my company back in 95. The last 3 years I have not ran a show just because of my crazy schedule. Well, I have opportunity to breathe new life into it. I've got a few different states that fully support my rules and my regulations. I will start in those states first, and then as I just conduct my shows, and then as the athletes say, well, we don't have to do this for this company, we're going to do this for that company, I go, shame on that company. Because the one thing that I require is blood work. Here in the state of Michigan, none of the amateur level companies require blood work. And I was to say would be, I hope you're winning in your mixed martial arts match, but if you're winning in your mixed martial arts match, odds are your opponent is bleeding, whether that's from a lip, a nose, or cut over the eye. Would you not like to know that he has recently had some blood work and that he is HIV, Hep B, Hep C negative?
Of course.
And if you say you don't care about the blood work, then what you're telling me is you want to fight for free and you're willing to risk your life to do it. So when I tell it to the athletes like that, they're like going, oh, I didn't look at it like that. And I go, of course you didn't, because you were unknowledgeable about it. And you'd be surprised how many of these promoters will slip these amateur athletes money. This guy pulled up, I'll give you $50, I'll give you $100 just to fill out their card. And that's illegal. Or it's not that it's illegal. The athlete is no longer an amateur. He is a pro.
Professional.
Yeah. But then a lot of the companies, the way that they simply just say, hey, here's again, I can use an example. Here's 100 tickets. The tickets are $25. Each ticket you sell, you get to keep $5. That's standard. I hear that all the time. And to me, it's kind of like, the only reason this young man is able to sell all these tickets to his family and friends is because he's on the card.
Yep.
So I don't. We're splitting some semantics right here now, but it's I don't know. I don't think that's right. I think the better thing is I would speak to you. If you're the coach of a training facility, a gym, a dojo, whatever you want to call it, I would say, I would like 4 of the athletes on my card, and these are the weights I'm looking for. And you say, Dan, got him. Hey, D, this is what I want to do for you and your gym. Because you're not fighting, you're the coach. I'd like to give you, say, 400 tickets to sell. $45 tickets. You and your gym keeps $5 per ticket. Now you can decide whatever it is you want to do, whether you buy new equipment, if you want to pay an electrical bill, whatever it is for your state, or if you want to give that money to your athletes. My hands are washed because I did not do that transaction with the athletes. You did.
Is that a way?
I can live with that, even though it's a roundabout way. My conscience is clear because I know who I conducted my business with.
Right. Now, is that the way to keep the commission off your stuff too? Also, is that a way to bypass them?
Say again.
For you not technically paying the athlete, does that mean that it has to be sanctioned by the athletic commission still, or
No. Again, I'm just talking about amateur level mixed martial arts. Pro level.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So amateur, this is basically just something for amateur level. Across the United States, this happens. And the reality is only because you are on the card are you able to sell any tickets in the first place. There's very few people that have that gift of gab that can actually sell things, and those are people that actually go in different industries and they go into the sales department. Maybe they are going to be. Everything is for sale. It's just however you have to market things and that. So sales is a number one aspect. Okay, you and I, we share the world of professional wrestling. You're selling yourself all the time.
Exactly.
You're putting yourself over all the time in order to catch promoters' attention.
Yep.
Literally, even at the time that you even working a match, you're still selling yourself on your capability of, can the guy work? Can he tell a story? Can he do this? How is he to work with in the first place? Is he an ass to work with? Does he show up under the influence of who knows what? So there's so many people. That's the one industry, professional wrestling, as I refer to it as, that boggles my mind.
Yeah.
It does not follow the most basic fundamentals of business 101. Show up on time. Show up. Show up not under the influence of anything. And yet, that industry allows it. Even the big companies like the WWE and TNA, even though they'll say, oh, well, but we have these drug rehab programs and we'll take care of all the prices, all the costs for their rehab and stuff like this. They'll go, great.
Yeah.
Maybe they should have right along and monitored right along, because there has to be a certain stigma or certain reoccurring occurrence in certain industries. Why is it in the wacky world of professional wrestling you have such a high death toll of wrestlers that did not live to see 40 years of age, not dying of natural causes prior to 40 years?
Right. Well, like a good friend of mine, Billy Jack Kane, he's been on a campaign about that, like what you're just saying, how a lot of the wrestlers were abused, and what you just talked about, and that they were addicted to pain pills, and a lot of times the promoters just turn their head. If you're the big superstar, they'll turn their head and slap you on the wrist, But then again, they turn around if they don't like you and they need an excuse for you to get out. Of course, you're the devil.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, it's the good old double standard.
Yep.
As long as you draw money, it's okay.
Yep, exactly. You know, I don't mean to veer off the subject, but you're talking about how, you know, how the UFC, you know, had changed rules, you know, with eye gouging and this and that. I don't know if you were in the WWE. You remember Steve Blackman?
Of course I do. He was during the same time that Owen Hart,
Yeah.
Shamrock, Steve, and then myself.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to catch up. There was a story where when they had that brawl for all, basically like a tough man competition, and I heard it was originally supposed to be sort of like a MMA fight, you know, anything goes, and they were sitting in the back room, and Blackman's eyes, you know, it was a shoot, and, you know, I think it was $10,000 or whatever, and Blackman's eyes was like, got real, you know, wide, and says, oh, so you mean I could bust someone's kneecap, gouge your eyes? And he was set out to win it, and I heard that's why they changed the rules, because I heard he was pretty badass, and I heard that's why they changed the rules to boxing gloves and kind of went to the boxing format. Did you hear anything about that?
No, I mean, I was actually at the talent meeting that took place when it was basically being announced. Whether or not there was any other media that took place, I couldn't really tell you, but, and, whatever, I don't even remember what city that we're at, but the venue that we're at, there was a quick little, talent meeting, and they were announcing this thing that's coming up. It's called this Brawl for All, and the Brawl for All is going to be these, I don't know, it's either, I think it was like 20-ounce gloves. They weren't, 16, I think they're 20-ounce gloves.
Right.
And, 3 1-minute rounds, more like the old tough man type contest. We just go out there and swing down on people. And to be like, then they made the announcement, everyone on the roster is going to be involved with it except for Ken Shamrock and Dan Severn. And as soon as I said that, I was out, I just walked away from the meeting at that point in time, so I didn't bother to stick around anymore because why should I waste my time? If I'm not involved with it, I waste my time. So I can't really tell you what else. I mean, maybe that happened at that meeting. Maybe in my absence, he might have said those kind of things, but it was, at that time, it was being announced as 3, I'm pretty sure it was 3 1-minute rounds. It might have been 3 2-minute rounds, but I'm sure. But I just, throwing down upon each other, the old tough man that Art Door used to run.
Yeah, I remember those. Yeah. Well, do you have anything else you want to let off your chest, Mr. Dan, the Beat Severn?
Not really. I mean, it's we might have to call it just a short little interview for this time, but we'll do another one again another time because it's the work day. I'm burning light every night. I get back to the things I'm doing, but rest assured, there, D, that the beast is always on the prowl, and I have my eyes set on a few goals, and I like to achieve my goals.
And I would like to say this. I'm really good friends with the office. There's another wrestling promotion called the UIWA, and if you become the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, or just get your title, which was rightfully yours, I would love to see the NWA versus the UIWA World Title match. I think that would be a money generator right there. World champion versus world champion.
Well, just keep your eyes on the lookout there, and we'll see what happens here in the near future.
Awesome. Well, once again, it was a pleasure to spend my morning with Dan the Beast Severn, and
And it is an early morning for you. You'll be out in California. You're 3 hours earlier than when I am here. So I appreciate
well, actually, Seattle.
But the fact that you get up this early to do this, I appreciate that. To accommodate my schedule.
No problem. Now I'm getting ready to train the Beast style, go run about 3 miles and hit the gym. And so I could be just like, not Michael Jordan, but I want to be just like Dan Severn.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, in the words of Floyd Mayweather, you should be like a Hispanic or black person, though.
Oh, that's true. Well, I'm an Arab, so does that put me high? Does that put me higher in the totem pole, or am I lower on the totem pole? Or am I lower on the totem pole because I'm a terrorist, which I'm not? But go ahead. Maybe in the ring.
I don't know. You may have to consult with old Floyd there. Maybe he'll give you a little what's up there. So, all right, my friend, I enjoyed the conversation. You take care, and we'll do another update here in a couple more months.
All right, sounds good. Take care, brother. God bless.
You can send your emails to radiotakedown@gmail.com. That's radiotakedown@gmail.com. And thank you for downloading and listening. The best way to support this podcast, either go to blogtalkradio.com and hit the follow button, or just go to iTunes and subscribe to Dobashi's Radio Takedown. You will not miss a single episode, and you can catch up and listen to past episodes. And you know what? Best of all, it's free. And if you don't remember what I just said, just go to our website at radiotakedown.com. Here we go. It's time for our new segment, Emailing with the Stars.
On the line right here, on the telephone, live, I have one half of the world-famous Fantastics, Bobby Fulton. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, Dobashi. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm going through these emails, and I have an email from Ron Steeder from Phoenix, Arizona, and he emails. Bobby,
right.
It's a couple-parter, so I'll go through segments here. It says, Bobby Fulton, how do you feel about the tag team division in the WWE, TNA, and all of the independent scene?
Well, I don't think they feature the tag teams like they did in the past, and a lot of people talk about there's not really much tag team wrestling, but there is still teams. I mean, they're just not featured like they were back in my day or the previous years in professional wrestling. You got the Usos, which is a definite tag team. And when I think of a tag team, I think of a team that's dressed pretty much alike, and they make themselves a team. They're not two individuals, but they're a team when they get in the ring. But the Usos are a great team, and I don't know if, I mean, it's just like Team 3D when they were a team, in that aspect. But I just don't think they feature the tag teams like they did in the day, or they don't give them a spotlight enough, as far as the tag teams for today, as that matters.
Okay, awesome. Okay, the second part of the email question is, were you ever in the Jim Crockett Memorial Tag Team Cup? And if you were, do you have any memories or stories you want to share about it?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, for those that don't know, I was in the Jim Crockett Memorial Cup, the very first one. I was in two of them, as a matter of fact. I was in the first one that was in New Orleans in the Superdome, and Tommy Rogers and I were wrestling that was when they brought teams in from all over the world. Japan, that's when the NWA was still running strong, all over the world. As a matter of fact, it got down, and it was top teams all over the world, but us and the Fantastics, Tommy Rogers and I, got into the semifinals with the team called the Sheep Herders, who had Jack Victory in their corner and Lady Maxine. In that particular match, we had a match that has went on that a lot of wrestling fans have thought was one of the greatest tag team matches of all time, as a matter of fact, a feud. But in that particular match sparked that feud, in which it cost both of us seeding in that tournament, which later went on to be Sting and Lex Luger, and I think maybe the Road Warriors, which the Road Warriors might have won. I can't remember exactly. But it was a who's who of professional wrestling. It wasn't just a company tournament, but it was a huge who's who of professional wrestling. And I'll never forget that years later, I met a guy that was from New York, and he had traveled to New Orleans. As a matter of fact, he seen me prior to the match, and he said this, and it was a great compliment to me. He said, I looked forward and I thought, man, is that one of the wrestlers on the card? Because I'm not a big guy, Dobashi. No way, shape, or form. And he said, we went out there, and he said, of both days, he said, when we wrestled the sheep herders, it stole the entire show. And I'm not just saying that because there's other people in the match. And for those that want to watch that match, I don't know if it's on YouTube or not, but that's my memories of the Crockett Cup that people have said time and time again. And even the Bushwhackers, Luke and Butch told me, even when they were with the WWE and they traveled all over the world, the one people would talk about was the match with the Fantastics and the Sheepherders, later to be known as the Bushwhackers. Like I said, a lot of great tag teams. We did not win the tournament, so to speak, but we came out winners because people told us that we sold the show. And to me, that's a great compliment considering all the talent that was involved in the particular two-day tournament.
Yeah, I remember
and then
watching.
The second time, not to cut you off, but the second tournament we were in a match with Larry Zbyszko and Al Perez that people thought was one of the better matches in that tournament also. And I'm not just saying it because of us, but I'm saying it because of Larry Zbyszko and Al Perez. But in that tournament in New Orleans, the first one, we had the battle and we defeated teams like the Fabulous Ones. We defeated Iron and Tully and all these teams to get to the match with the Sheepherders then. But go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. It's just an afterthought.
Oh, no problem. I was just going to say, I remember going up, and it was almost unheard of. It was kind of great. You saw promotions from Don Owens, Big Time Wrestling in Portland,
right.
Japan, Mexico, and it was awesome. To me, it was like, I don't know, and I remember watching that, and I was just in awe, wow. And, I'm sure it's on YouTube, and I remember, when I was watching that, they weren't really pay-per-views. They might have been closed-circuit TVs, but you always waited, and they sure sold the heck out of the VHS tape.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And the last part of the email was, I'm sorry, Mr. Bobby Fulton. I had it here.
No, you're fine, Dobashi. I will say this, too. Go ahead. You find it?
Oh, okay, yeah. And the last part of the question is, do you have any funny Jim Cornette stories? And good luck on your royalty case, and God bless. That was the last part.
Yep. Thank you so much about the royalty case, and I pray that my prayers that God blesses all of us with our rights to our royalties, which Vince is naturally holding. I'll tell you what, buddy, Dobashi, I have more funny Jim Cornette stories than time would allow, and it's just a continuous laugh from the time I first met Jimmy as a photographer through our run of whether it was World Class or Mid-South or WCW or Crockett Promotions. The people didn't realize the funny stories. Jimmy is the king of one-liners in the professional wrestling business. Two things come to mind. One was, and I've shared this story many times, we were in Washington, D.C. at the National Guard Armory, which had been ran for wrestling for many years. Well, Jimmy was in the stall using the bathroom. I threw in a big bowl of toilet paper, which caught his pants that were made of that nylon material that went up into flames instantly.
Oh, no.
So he started screaming, and I'm laughing, and it's melting to him and this and that, and all of a sudden, he takes his pants off and throws them in the trash. Well, I get the pants, and I carry them to the ring. And all of a sudden, I say, Jim Cornette, this is your pants right here. And he grabbed the microphone and said, and Bobby, you've always wanted to get in my pants.
Oh, wow.
Then another time, Then another time in Louisville, Kentucky, they had the circus there at the arena right before us, so they had a great big huge shovel, and it was Jim Cornette and Sweet Stan, and for some reason I don't think Bobby Eaton or one of them wasn't there, but it was just going to be like a singles match, and I was going out the ring with Tommy. Well, I went carrying that shovel out, and Tommy said, "Please don't, Bobby, please don't." I carried that shovel into the ring, and Jim Cornette grabbed the microphone and said, "I'm glad you had that shovel since your partner's not house trained, you know."
Oh, wow, awesome. I'm pretty sure.
But then just recently, I just ran into Jimmy last Friday night in Knoxville, Tennessee, and we were on a show there promoted by Chris Lash, and Jimmy was back to promoting because I heard him hit a guy with a tennis racket, and I'd heard that sound for years, and it brought back a lot of memories. Then I found out Jim Cornette wrestled actually the next day with OVW in a match with, I think, him, Danny Davis, and Tom Pritchard against 3 guys. So the hits just keep coming when it comes to Jim Cornette. He's a lifelong friend, although a lot of people didn't realize it for years, especially after what he called my mother. One name was like a barnacle barf bag. I can't remember. Had her pretty incensed whenever he would come around. She wanted to kill him. But all in all, if I shared every story about Jim Cornette, man, it would take hours and hours. But like I said, I'm appreciative of the people remembering. As you said, talks about the Crockett Cup, that those was not aware that we were in them. You know, Dobashi, I tried to explain, and I had another guy on a podcast, some goofball. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you ever heard it or not, but he asked me, he said, "How could you compare yourself to John Cena?" He said, "I compare people to bank accounts to bank accounts." I said, "Listen, it's apples to oranges." I said, at one time in the wrestling business, the Fantastics was a significant part of professional wrestling, and that we were worked on top in territories and for companies and stuff like that. That's what that's what I was correlating us and John Cena to. It's just like Buddy Rogers of days gone by and Bubba Brazil of days gone by. We all have our time and period, and I'm just thankful that these 20 or 30 years later, that we were good enough, Dobashi, that the people remembered us, and it's with fond memories that they do. And with that, I'm just saying, man, I'm thankful that they asked the questions that they asked today.
Oh, awesome. And I do know they appreciate it, you answering them. Now, Mr. Fulton, do you have any last comments or plugs you want to give the fans?
No, I just want to tell the people that like I said, one of the greatest compliments, they say that copying someone is a sincere form of flattery. But for me, it's when the people remember my work that we did 20 to 30 years ago. And, I have a lot of fond memories because Dobashi, I'm from a small town, Chillicothe, Ohio. I have a high school education. But you know what, Dobashi, I had a dream as a young man. And I got a chance, and I'm very thankful to God that I got a chance to fulfill that dream. And not only that, to go places and be in situations I would have never been in if it wasn't for professional wrestling. And with that being said, all I can say is that I'm a blessed man. I've lived a blessed life, and that I'm very thankful for the opportunities that came my way, and for not only that, but for the great people, whether they were fans or foes, or business associates, for all the wonderful people I got a chance to meet and still stay in contact with today. That I'm very thankful for professional wrestling. And as much as I was, as far as my vocation, is as much as I am a fan of the greatest sport in the world, the king of sports, professional wrestling.
Amen, brother. Well, thanks for your time once again, and we will talk very soon.
Sir. Yes, take care. God bless.
It's my privilege, on the telephone from Ottawa, referee Danny Linkin. How are you doing, brother?
Doing good. And you?
I'm doing great. Just doing this new segment, Emailing with the Stars, and I'll just cut to the chase. We have an email for you, and sounds like a fan. Rudolph Tino from Bronx, New York, emails, Mr. Lincoln, do you feel that referees can make or break a professional wrestling match? Okay, it's a 2 or 3 party, so we'll do it in segments. Mr. Lincoln, do you feel that referees can make or break a professional wrestling match?
Make a break. Oh man, like guys, what? Keep on going further, or?
I think what they mean, like, can they make the match terrible, or can they make the match better?
Well, if you look at the WWE side, all the referees have an earpiece in them, right? So they get all the talks from the back. So, like, let's say, the producer, the writer or someone that wants something change in a match, they'll let the referee know to let the worker know. So, and I mean, yeah, if a wrestler thinks, let's say, for example, there's a lot of blood involved in a match, they could tell the wrestler right away, like, go home. Like, finish it, and, because, I mean, wrestling now is a family show, and a lot of promotions don't want really big blood on their shows, right?
Correct.
And, let's say the wrestler is out of the ring, and the referee, I mean, he's not going to stop the count, at 10, so if he has to stop it, he's going to stop it. So yeah, the referee could do, they're the officials. If, there's a point to disqualify someone because he's pushing the referee could get him disqualified right away.
Well, now, do you think that, people that in the business, personally, I know, referee do have a good part, in a wrestling match, communication or whatnot. So if a referee don't know what the hell he's doing, it's most likely the match might bomb, wouldn't you think?
Yeah. I mean, it's, for example, let's say, there's supposed to be a spot or something, right? The referee will let the other guy know, like, so if, they start in the ring and, when they check the pads and all that, sometimes, the wrestler, the heel or someone will say, all right, tell him to duck the line and I'll throw him an knee in the gut. So you go check the wrestler and you tell him the same thing, or when they turn in circles, you let him know.
Right. Okay.
So the referee is pretty much the ear and the voice of what goes on in the ring.
True. Okay, well, second part of the question, what made you become a referee or want to get involved in professional wrestling?
I started wrestling, like, classes and all that, right? And when I got, I went on tours, I went in different cities, wrestled and all that kind of stuff, and then that's when I met a promoter up here that did big wrestling shows that had Abdullah, Greg the Hammer, Kamala, Coco. Because I'm a small guy and all that, and today referees are pretty much the same size as a wrestler today, right? And promoters want 2 big wrestlers with a small referee, so it makes the wrestlers look bigger in the ring. So then that's when I had no refereeing experience at all, and he just threw me there, and because you know how a match works and all that kind of stuff, then it was pretty easy. But to become a referee, you have to pretty much take a wrestling course.
True.
It happened in a ring, right? There could be ref bump or ref going through a table. You need to know how to take your landing, or else you'll either break your neck, concussion. Anything can happen.
Yeah, very true. Okay, well, the third question is, it goes, is there a referee school? And one more thing, I love listening how you have Abdullah the Butcher's back about that jerk Hannibal or Devin, whatever his name is, what I heard on the past podcast on Dobashi's Radio Takedown. So I guess someone loves you that has Abdullah the Butcher's back. A few episodes ago, Mr. Danny Linkin, gave his side of Abdullah's story, and I guess, it was nice of you. But back to the third question, is there a referee school?
Pretty much get into the wrestling business. I mean, like I said, you need to learn your bumps. You need to learn what goes on in a ring, how to move in a ring, where to stand, like especially with shows like that, videotapes their shows and all that, like promoters.
Mm-hmm.
When they film their shows and put it online, or example, like WWE, they have a hard cam. So you need to know where you're positioned, because when a guy has the other wrestling submission or stuff like that, the camera has to see their face. It can't just be right in front of their heads. Otherwise, nobody sees anything. The expression and the selling and all that kind of stuff. So best bet is join a wrestling school, learn the bumps as well, because you never know when a promoter will say tonight you're taking a bump.
And make it a reputable school also.
Pardon?
And the listeners, I told them they should make it do their homework and make it a reputable, a legit wrestling school, not these fly-by-night, jokers that try to steal their money or never, been anywhere.
Well, that's it. And a lot of people, like a lot of promoters, will take backyarders or something like that has no experience. They are reffing. And when they take a bump, well, next thing you know, concussion.
That's it. That we could do a whole new episode on that, my brother. But
that's it. It's like I said in a previous podcast with those promoters, using backyarders because they're not going to charge a dime.
Yep. And it ruins it for everybody. Ruins it for the industry because the people see shitty wrestling and then they won't come out, and then the boys that could work don't be making any money, and so on and so on.
And then you got to travel for $40 bucks, like 500 kilometers, or 100 kilometers, but down in this case miles. To make what, $60?
Exactly.
And when you could wrestle local for $60, but yet they'll use some other guy for free. For free.
Well, brother, thanks for coming on and answering the emails for the listener. And is there any plugs you want to give out to the listeners out there, or any last words you need to say or want to say?
Yeah, before, wrestling, don't try that at home, man. Just go to a wrestling school. There's some in every city, small, big towns. Spend $2,000-$3,000 at a good wrestling school. Don't get gypped by those, people who just want your money, right? Spend your time doing your research, the homework. It's worth it.
Yep, that's true.
In the end, you'll have all the fun. Like I had all the fun touring up here in Canada and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, and you're welcome anytime on the podcast.
Yeah, sure, no problem, man. Anytime, just give me a call and we'll get on it.
All right, thank you, brother.
Thank you.
I have on the phone one of the greatest minds in professional wrestling, the Taskmaster, Kevin Sullivan. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing fine.
Awesome. Well, great. Well, I'll just get to the point. We're doing this new segment, Emailing with the Stars, and we have an email from a listener, Morgan, from Sarasota, Florida, and he emails Mr. Sullivan. I see that you're active still on the independent circuit. Now, how do you feel about the booking at these promotions, and do they ever ask for your opinion or help, and have you ever just held your head shaking it and just think, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, I do sometimes, but like we're lucky up here, we have a good independent scene, but there's some people, I don't want to knock anybody. There's some people that don't know what they're doing because they never really had a chance to learn. So, yeah, I agree with them.
Okay, awesome. Okay, I just got one more question for you, Mr. Sullivan.
Yeah.
How was your neck?
Cool.
Kevin, you still there? Wow. Looks like Kevin Sullivan hung up. Looks like Kevin Sullivan is still a little heated about me choking him with my headdress at the last SCW event. I choked him so hard, like I was choking my own chicken. Then my world power brother Chief Attakulla and I beat Coach Mike Jones and Kevin Sullivan down. That's so cute, Mr. Kevin Sullivan. It's so cute that you're still trying to defend Abdullah the Butcher's honor. Okay, off to the next email.
Right now, on the telephone, live, I have the international superstar, WWE Hall of Famer, the original Mr. Hardcore himself, the madman from the Sudan, my mentor, which we are kind of going at it, but let bygones be bygones right now, Mr. Abdullah the Butcher. How you doing today?
Very good, sir. I feel good, but let me say something to you first. You know, I've never in my life ever asked anybody for anything, and then when I did, you know what I mean, I was let down. But the main part about it, I started beating my head up against the wall, and I said to myself, the longer I live, I've never asked nobody for nothing. I'd rather die and sit down and pray more to God than to ask somebody for something. And what else you got to say, sir?
Okay, that's very admirable, and I'm sure all the fans out there understand what you're saying, and God bless to you and all the good work you do for charity and flowers while they live. But right now we're on a segment called Emailing with the Stars, and I have the email from Tanya from Winnipeg, Canada, and she says, Mr. Abdullah the Butcher, I watched old videos, DVDs, and watched you on YouTube. To me, you're the original hardcore for hardcore professional wrestling. That being said, how do you feel about hardcore wrestling today in professional wrestling, in your opinion?
Well, I'm going to say that right now there's no hardcore out there really, but I have heard something about you choking people out, beating them up, hitting them with chairs and stuff like that. And you have to realize something. When I was in my wheelchair, you jumped me. That's hardcore. You beat me up in my wheelchair, and it's only you and Sullivan who are still hardcore. If Cactus Jack was out there, he'd be hardcore, and if I was out there, I'd be hardcore. So right now, what you're looking at, there's no hardcore really out there at all. Okay, what else do you want me to say? What else do you want to talk about?
That's all I have for you. That's the email I have for you. But I want to say, Mr. Abdullah the Butcher, you know, I had to do what I had to do at your restaurant. And you know what? It is your fault because you created this beat.
No. Don't tell me that's my fault. I'm going to tell you something. If God's willing, when I get my hip replacement done, you are going to be the first low-lifing, no good Dobashi. I don't care whatever you say about you had to do it. You jumped me in a wheelchair. And if God's willing, I will come and I will walk again and I will be back out there whooping your ass.
Wow.
I got nothing else to say to you. All right, so I'm going to hang up the phone.
All I got to say for you, Abdullah, give your buddy, Mr. Kevin Sullivan, a call and ask him how his neck's doing. Allahu Akbar.
Yeah, you're no good. That's it. You're no good. You jump people from the back the way you jump me from the back. Tell you something. You call yourself hardcore when you're choking out a young kid, a young girl. Would you choke your mother out? You're no good. You're no good hardcore. You're a piece of junk. You're a piece of crap. That's all you are. And I heard about you sneaking behind Sullivan, choking him out. You're no good. You're a piece of shit. Okay? But I will ask Sullivan, and we're going to come after you. Believe me. We're going to come after you. Get off to my phone, will you please? I'll never talk to you. You're no good.
On that note, Please be good to others. It's easy to do, and it does work wonders. I want to give a shout out to my Habibi Jill, my Asian persuasion. You do have magic hands. Ring the bell. See ya. Dobashi's Radio Takedown is a Say Saha Dynamite Productions.